John, we
Yeah.
have about 5 minutes left.
All right.
So let me take a couple of questions.
Sure.
Anybody got questions?
What do you think the post-production industry is going to be like in 5 or 10 years? Do you think it's going to maybe do the same route as home recording?
Yeah, the question was, what do I think the post-production industry is going to do? Is that going to go the same way as home recording? And the short answer is it already has. Right, as soon as the Avid system came out, there were all these video editors that were freed from working in big post houses. And so there are a lot of TV shows now even. They get cut in someone's bedroom. And there's a guy with a bedroom studio doing the audio stuff. And then it all comes together on a certain night. And, we're seeing that more and more. I did some work once upon a time for Industrial Light and Magic, and a bunch of the guys there working on films have spun out and they have their own little visual effects companies. And it's become very commonplace on a movie to have, 30, 40 visual effects companies working on it because they just get jammed up. So if they know you're good, you have the right equipment, they'll give you a shot. And by shot, I don't mean a chance, I mean actually one of the effects shots in the film. And people bring that stuff back in on their hard drives. And, it's happening more and more and more, and there's no question that for anything other than probably advertising where they're on very short time frames, that's going to continue to happen. Anyone else? I know I rambled about a lot of stuff. There's got to be some questions. Yeah.
Before you were talking about being able to do and handle a lot of different aspects of the music business, such as being able to build your own website, being your own producer, sound engineer. What's the best way for kids like us to get out there and learn about all that? Like, how do we find out about all these different aspects of what's going on?
All right. So the question was basically, how do you learn to do the long, scary list of skills I mentioned? And I think part of it is just by doing that stuff. If there are a lot of people, musicians who go out and get a website done. It's always easier to modify a site and build it from scratch. One of the ways I learned web design was by looking at sites I liked. And if you go up in the menu, you can find view source. And you can look at all the HTML source for the page. And so it's a great way to say, oh, that looks really cool. How did they do that? With the audio stuff, the tools are there on your computer. You can start doing that. The business end is enough of it's wide open now because you don't have to deal with the established distribution record store because they aren't going to talk to you anyway. Yeah. Well, there's two answers to that. The question was, how did we get the sound quality right on the DVD we made? And the first answer is we didn't, because we made a sort of crummy mistake when we were recording, which was the idea was we were going to record the audio into the cameras. And we were going to get 1 feed off the board. The DV camera will record 16-bit, 48 kilohertz audio. And then we just have the wild audio off the camera mics or, the room sound. Well, the guy who got the audio off the board actually got the thing pre-fader. And what that means is all the background tracks were louder than the lead singer, which she objected to, and I can't quite blame her much. So we ended up using the camera audio, but that meant I had 3 different cameras with 3 separate audio tracks, no time code between them. And that sort of puzzled me for a while. And what I ended up doing was setting markers at the start of the first vocal line in each song. So I'd go through, I'd step the video until I could see her start to open her mouth. And then I'd go ahead and I'd take all the other camera tracks and get them to that same spot. And then I'd play all the audio tracks together and see if I could hear any phasing, right? Because if they aren't lined up time-wise, you know, you're going to get this weird echo, out of sync sound. So then I slipped the audio in Pro Tools until it was all lined up. And at that point, I knew all the video was lined up in sync. I could just pick whichever audio track sounded best at that point in time and cut the 3 video tracks to it.
So that we should actually close. How about a big round of applause?